At this time, we're going to be taking the eulogy, Remembrance, by his own daughter, Miss Fedora Bailey.
Jesus on the sound dead, sir. Oh man, this can't work. Good morning, church.
Good morning.
Now we may begin. It's funny how, though I wish I did not have to stand here this morning in this capacity, I'm also proud that I can stand here this morning in this capacity. To think that it was exactly 1 year to the day my father died, that as I gave him a recount of my near-death encounter while traversing the alternate route in Savage Pen, Gordontown, my father reminded me that he had no plans of burying any more of his children, and he did not think that he could even live on if any of us should pass on before him. He had lost his son Delroy, and as he always say, for no other reason than plain bad mind. And though he compartmentalized the memory and spoke about it only when absolutely necessary, he never got over it. There are so many traits that are unique to the mysterious things about my father, and as I tried to piece in the pieces of his life, I realized that he hardly ever shared about his earlier years. It was as if him did just born big brops and just start life, or better yet, life did just start do him. I'm inviting you to sit with me as I share a few lessons from my father. Herman Lloyd Bailey, also called Mr. Lloyd Hoodroot, Lloyd Roots Daily Bread, or II, was born on June 29, 1937 to Doris Bolton, and sad to say, to this day, I don't know my grandfather's name, in Kingston. He was the first of 5 children for his mother. My father didn't say much, if anything, about his school life, but from the little that he did share, and me picking sense from the nonsense, I realized that he did not spend a lot of time in the classroom or even in the schoolyard. He was birthed into the hustle, owing to the treatment as he would say, the punishment he received from his father's nuclear family for being what we now called a love child. I can recall living at my father's house for a couple of my infant years, and I remember him cherishing a particular photograph of his late father. There were days that he would sigh, others he would shake his head, but there was this one particular time that I realized that he mumbled a few words before becoming agitated. He kept saying, time, time, I'll leave her to time. I remember telling him that my bonus daughter Brittany, who I now call my blessing, would be living with Ravinia and he had a lot of pointers and things to say. Ever so often, he would ask about her well-being. I didn't understand, and truthfully, it was kind of annoying at times, but as I got older and he began sharing, it became clear. Lesson number 1, be firm and take responsibility for the decisions and choices that you make in your relationship. No child should be mistreated or denied their basic needs because of their parents' missteps. So the hustler was born because he had to start fending for himself very early. He shared how when things got bad, he got some Cerasy bush and went to the market. It was the earnings from this and the investments he made into the preservation of this now precious commodity that he was able to acquire a bed of his own. Lesson number 2, as early as possible, ensure that after your day's hustle have been completed, you have a comfortable bed to curl up and to rest your head. I guess it was the sweet rest that he enjoyed that when he went to bed, that allowed him to develop the habit of being an early riser, and it made his brain click. It was one draw of Cerasy bush that birthed this entrepreneurial spirit in my father. You may have met him at different junctures in his hustling, but I will now just touch a few. I would like to see by the raising of the hand if you knew Lloyd when he did any of the following. selling Cersei bush. Anybody was here during that time? Okay. Were you around when he was making and selling figurines? All right. Selling roots? All right. He sold ice cream. Were you around? He would retail and wholesale paper. That's wrapping paper. Were you around? All right. One day a long time, man. All right. When he was designing the calabash, you know the calabash tree. When he was doing that, were you around? When he was making and selling the market bags, the ones lined with the thick plastic bags, those, the good things them. All right. When he delivered aggregate, that sand and gravel from the Beckford truck he eventually bought. Anybody was around at that time? All right. When he burnt and sold coal. When he had his shop. All right, new out. All right. All right, we have 2 more to go, just 2 more. I see that you guys have journeyed with my father and I'm really proud. When he would take and print the instant pictures using his camera. All right, Mr. Errol, I see you. All right, lesson number 3. It only takes a spark or a start to get the fire going. Never be afraid to try your hand at anything that will be the conduit or tool that will take care of your basic needs, or to provide for your family, or just to simply live. Did I just use the word simply? And let me tell you something. I legit beamed ear to ear, for this is big, as it meant that I would have made significant progress simply accepting that my father was just comfortable living the simple life. So, I guess by now, uno no say I wanted him close to me, would have been living under a rock. Desmond and I have fought the fight to uproot him and replant him in an environment where he would have been able to receive the care he deserved and would be in his best interest. However, he still chose to remain where he was comfortable and at home. For days on end, we would be at it, and he would end up with his own way, because what more could I do? He was okay visiting, but never staying days on end. My father was happy in a place where he was free to get up and move about how and when he wanted. He was happy hearing from his children and grandchildren. He was happy that he saw actual people in the mornings and in the nights. He was happy knowing that his children are okay and were just bright. He was happy knowing that he commanded the respect of those he interacted with, and he enjoyed being greeted respectfully. He was happy knowing that he was a real elder and he had options to choose from. Lesson number 3. Choose your joy and live as comfortable or to your heart's desire. I don't think I've ever missed a grand gala, circus, big public gathering at the National Arena or Stadium as a child growing up. The time spent doing those things would actually create memories, and these were important to him. He was not wealthy financially, however, he created a wealth box of memories and was able to touch the lives of those who mattered most to him, his children and grandchildren. Lesson number 4, create memories by actually doing things with those you love and care about. I guess I would need an entire month or even more to share of my recount of what love did, or how this love, you're warm, just leave it as it is. It was an obsession, but the entire Waltham Park Road family and Duhaney Park family can attest to what happened when my father really loved and the things that he would do. I'm pretty sure if we had the ability to choose our last names, we would have chosen something else in most cases. The thing is that whilst we are unable to make this choice, my father for sure would have chosen a different name. However, it was what it was. Though he did not like the family he was born into or the structure and dynamics of it, he was one proud Bailey. Kind of weird, but my father enjoyed and lit up when we went out and someone called him Mr. Bailey. So proud that he would tell us ladies to ensure that we pronounce it properly, or to inform our mates that from early that they should be prepared to add our surnames to theirs instead of us taking theirs. Lesson number 5. Learn to accept that though you cannot decide on who gets to be your parent, you have the choice of finding that one thing that brings you the simple joy and to make it count. Who remember when 3 miles did have a roundabout? Oh Jesus. After earning a place at Campion College, my father would share every need with my brother Desmond. Teeth and tongue met a lot in my family, and one thing for sure and 2 things for certain, my father would grab us up, put us on his motorbike and keep us, or if he didn't think the Walton Park area was the plug, he was going to keep us. It was during one of these times that out of nothing, he would ensure that a taxi came and picked us up from Duhaney Park. That's my brother Navarda, my sister Tina and I. The taxi would pick us up and then it would journey to Walton Park Road and then on to Hope Road and back home in the evening. He was one proud and bossy piece of man. Lesson number 6. Be prepared to do what you can to ensure that the next generation is a step further in solidifying the one thing that no one will be able to take from them once received, their education. Good friends are gold. My father used smoking and him niceness. We all know when we say him niceness, right? The things them we him do to cover for the extreme hurt and pain he felt growing up. Whenever his back was against the wall, this was what he used to cope. He would smoke and he would drink. These habits would sometimes get him in trouble because when him nice, man not lie, him really go on. It was his late friends, Mr. Pringle and Mr. Loxley, who recommended the pump, as he frequently called it, as he began developing severe respiratory challenges. His friends were no nonsense and would use the things that mattered most to communicate the reason he should take the pump. He was against taking that the ventilator. There would be constant back and forth and vexation of spirit as they argued because my father was relentless and it not take nothing for him to write on and off like 8 bus. My father wanted more time with us. He wanted to see his grandchildren more often. He wanted to outlive the people who, to him, them just never did good. He wanted to be around as long as it was possible to personally deliver the mangoes or the fruits from the trees in his yard. My father believed and lived the parson christening him Pitney saying until his last breath. On a side note, you dared not try to get a fruit, a vegetable, or herb from the lot until I received the first crop. But say all when the things them are spoiled, he would allow them to spoil until I came for them, or until I sent someone for them. Soursop, akis, mangoes, peppers, bananas, apple. Fedora not get none yet, so make them spoil. She forget fear first. Lesson number 7. Ensure that the people around you are grounded and are willing to speak the truth, irrespective of how uncomfortable it may be. I will forever be grateful to these friends whose impact transcended beyond their passing. They contributed to my father being around for almost 7 years extra. My father was well loved and supported through the community, and everywhere he traveled, he possessed an infectious personality and had the ability to light up any room or space he occupied. He supported in a way that he could and would do so in the natural form, whilst others would do the very same for him. I always teased him about he would simply sit down and the entire community would be at his beck and call, and that's why I'm no want to move. From his Mr. Lloyd it would get done. Lesson number 8. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Treat people with love, honor, and respect, and the favor will be returned to you and your generations 100-fold. It was a Thursday morning before his passing that he called at the usual 2 o'clock to remind me that he loved me. Miss Bailey? I didn't answer because I was sleeping. Fedora? Oh, by the way, he calls me Fedora. You sleeping? Yes, Mr. Bailey. By the way, my father was never afraid of expressing or releasing his emotions. He would tell you how he adored and wanted the best for us without shame. He was really proud of us, and in his eyes, we were the most beautiful roses in the garden of life. I asked him how much longer we would do this. Him one end and me the next. And he basically didn't want to die. He basically said he didn't want to die at my house. And I'd be faced with someone lifting him out of there. And he didn't want to put the children through that. I also noticed that he kept speaking about running out. And often more of late, he kept mentioning death. The thing is that my father hated the hospital. We would tussle, we would fight. He would only go for therapy. Therapy was fine because he would get to go home. How ironic it is that on the day that he passed, there was no vehicle around that would take him to the hospital. He didn't want to die in a hospital. He wanted to die around the people that he loved, that he cared for, and that he adored more. Lesson number 9. Whatever you give life to, it will manifest. All the years he spoke long life, he lived long. And within the 2 months or so, he started giving strength to passing on. He passed away. On the morning of April 1, it was just a regular morning. I told you that I spoke to him in the morning of the Thursday before. I was on my way to work, usual time, and I saw this gentleman just right up on the wrong side of the road, like he just rode up on the road. And I turned to my driver and I said, "Dane, the man the favor my father he?" Just like that. And immediately my phone rang, and it was my father. My father's number came in. I turned to my driver and I said, "Dane, you see my father called me?" And I answered, and Dane went through the lights. And it was Nikki on the phone telling me what was happening. The regular thing I would say on the bus is spin the bus, and I started singing, and I drove to my car and I headed on. HERMAN passed away on April 1 due to a number of respiratory, pulmonary, prostatic. He had a lot of ailments, but you would never know, because he took it, and he took it like a man. He was strong. He knew he was traveling. He knew that he was going. But on the morning, he sat outside with everybody. And because of how publicly private he was, he took some of the cream crackers, he took the orange juice, and he went inside. And less than 5 minutes, Nikki passed, and she saw him there, just like that. He died doing what he wanted, and he died around the people he loved. He died in the simplicity of his home, and he died, when he was dying, he heard my voice, and he heard Desmond's voice, and he heard people that he loved. That for me was very big. What happens the last few moments before you die? Doctors say that in time, the heart stops and they stop breathing. Within a few minutes, their brain stops functioning entirely and their skin starts to get cool. George, I remember exactly where I was when you said, "Fiddy, I'm cool." At this point, they have died. I was right by the Seventh-day Adventist Church when you said that. Less than 30 seconds away. In 7 minutes after passing, Scientists have concluded, based on the studies done during this time, that the person's brain is still active. And based on the wavelength seen, that it was something like a flashback. Happy moments, what mattered most, the people they loved and cherished, would actually flash back. Here are a few clips of what I think my father's 7 minutes involved. Yeah, this is my daddy, and I'm almost 100.
Ever should I have a telephone line? Someone could have called my last friend, them I make with talk of so much things with them. From the yard, ever should I have a telephone line?
Yeah, man, them bad planet, man, them bad planet.
Oh my God.
Bad planet, man. Yes. Yeah, because you want me little boys out. Yeah, man, I love my children, them. I love them. I don't share alone, I love them. If them tell life for me, I love them. And if them hate me, I love them.
Love them, see away.
My wonder.
People stay so.
Them no care. They fall along with bucket of country. You no fall along with none.
You can't bother with my
You
father.
come down and roll. And have to go back and take it up because they can't get them yard without water.
And you never make
And
we
never do it yet.
and we never have experienced it.
And no, you never have the experience of water. Sorry. You must find them bucket. You have to get some trouble. That is number one. Don't go one thing, I don't bicycle ride up and down and I don't wrestling ride because I plan to put this. And if you don't what thing you want to do, I take the course and love me back then strong. So really you're alive. Hold on them let me school you. And take out the bag and show me. Say, yeah, you make this, you know, long time, you know.
From them long time then?
Yes, I'll see a bit.
Quality.
Well, it's lined with plastic, you know.
I don't like the bag them now.
I don't like them, them can't serve so long.
Me
They
remember-
buy one and I come down the road and so long in a potato come through the bottom. It's bored. Don't forget banana to cook for them, you know.
You never have to do it, or you want to do it.
Yeah, she said, you know what I tell you
Pose. Smile. Smile.
Why?
I give your face a rest. He said, me hate him, baby, I say. Come back and him still a course and him see me 2 days. You see me Tuesday, you see me Wednesday or Thursday. And watch him. See the picture there? Picture you. You provide food for them?
And this man tell me, go and get them, me we have.
Everything for get food.
Anything, me
Say-
say, me do little selling, me buy truck, me buy van, me do a little thing, and when me get my money, me make sure give them in here.
You sell paper?
Me sell paper.
You saw crocus market
me
bag?
sell market bag. Me have Tala market. When me make any money, me share my profit. Give them and me go back to business. Me work, me give them. My father no give me.
You always tell her to talk, walk and talk. So for the last 7 minutes of my father's life, I know for sure that his children, his grandchildren, his brethren, friends,